Good evening, and welcome to Butler Community College Theater's production of The Runner Stumbles. Please take a moment to silence all electronic devices. Thank you. Recording of today's performance is prohibited by federal copyright law. Please refrain from doing so. There will be a 10-minute intermission following Act 1. Thank you for joining us today, and enjoy the show.
Then may this matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Brian Rivard be set down for immediate trial.
It's the children singing at the school, Father.
I hear it too.
Ain't deaf, Father.
No, it's not what I... It's just... Sister Rita used to teach this song to the children. But I couldn't possibly hear voices from that hill, could I?
No. What's the public school down there? There ain't been no Catholic school there since you ran off.
Erna, what are you doing here?
Erna!
You ain't never supposed to come back here.
I have to, Amos. I have to. Just leave us alone a minute. I'll be all right. I will.
Hello, Erna. Thank you for coming.
Father, I'll tell you the truth outright. I haven't been to confession in 4.5 years.
Erna, I can't.
Of course you can, Father.
What's that? What do you have there?
For you. I made it special. Your favorite.
Mincemeat muffins.
Yes, I knew you'd remember. I cook for the prisoners here. I live just up the road, the other house, right in town now, because I'm married. Maurice Prindle. He's 30 years older, but we have 3 children already. It takes a lot, and I cook for them here.
That's good.
Maurice isn't Catholic,
I remember.
but it's wrong.
Marriage. If you're happy. If it does that, Erna, how could it be wrong?
If you look out your window, you can see Holy Rosary Church right on the hill. If you're ever troubled or scared, you can just stand and look at it. It's a comfort. A real comfort.
You better get moving. Erna, this lawyer just came and is talking to the sheriff, and they'll be coming back here.
Everyone says you did it, but they don't know you like I did.
Come on, Erna.
Do you think I could do it? That I could kill Sister Rita?
No.
Erna, he's here.
Toby Filter! Come on, Amos. Don't pay him any mind. Young men care about some amounts of much, and I don't know why. Why, when I was their age, I was burning up with ambition. You can wait outside now.
I'll have to protect you, Toby.
You have to listen so you can tell that crowd out there what's happening. You got it right now, or I'm telling the sheriff.
You take him for your lawyer, you better be sure you plead guilty. He ain't never got nobody off. Everybody knows it too.
Sheriff! Toby! I was going to do a chore anyway.
The circuit judge appointed me to take your case. You don't remember me, do you? I met you once. Grange meeting in Leland. You were sharp as a pin at the Grange, explaining why Catholics have Mass and everything. Don't you remember? I was the one who introduced you, conducted the question and answer period. Now I got to tell you, you don't have to make me as your lawyer. You don't. But if you don't, there's one thing you should know. I'm the only lawyer out here on the peninsula. Now, there ain't much for a lawyer out here except after the spring rains and the creeks hither and thither, arguing boundary disputes, if you know what I mean, but you don't have to take me. Maurice told me the smelter run down in Boyne City. Wouldn't mind getting a barrel of them. You fish?
Do you want my case?
Sure, I want your case. Do you accept me, that's the point?
You think I'm innocent?
Innocent?
Yes.
That means a trial. I'd have to know a lot. Yes, a lot. But you tell me, what did happen that last day? The day of the fire? 4.5 years ago. You both disappeared the same night, everyone figured, but... Well, you tell me, what did happen?
I don't know. I know nothing happened. It couldn't have. I'm not a violent man.
All right, start from the beginning. Why'd you send for another nun?
The other two sisters were ill.
Did you ask for a young one?
There's so much she'd have to... No, I can't live through it again.
Exactly when did she arrive?
About this time of year. There were lilacs. She was late. Well, I'd expected her an hour earlier. So I walked down to the road, see if I could catch her coming up from the valley. No. That's all.
I didn't think it would be beautiful. All those trees. It's almost a wilderness.
How could I help you if some other time? We'll talk some other time.
Barely slept on the train for imagining what Solon would be like.
I don't want to remember anymore.
Every house down there has lilacs, doesn't it? I picked these down there along the road. The bishop told me the native name for Solon was Land of Rainbows.
Yes, they're quite fond of native names in the Chancery, but we're experiencing a bit of a drought. No, they wouldn't know that.
So that's why there are no birds. So peculiar. All those trees and not a single bird. You can almost smell the dryness.
According to native superstition, the birds leave before a forest fire.
Oh, I hope not, Father. Where I grew up, in Detroit, there were just these scraggly trees along the street. And now this forest.
You're weary of the trees, sister. The winters up here are long, and at times it feels like they're closing in on you. I think the best thing to do is just keep busy. That way you don't have to worry about homesickness or any melancholy over what you renounced. Not for any rule, of course, but just because it's easier.
They used to say that at Guardian Angel as if it would comfort me, but I don't believe it, Father. It was a new life when I entered the convent, yes, but I was alive before. I believe everything I've done is a part of me. I had to be a child then, to be a nun now. I kept a diary, ever since I was old enough to write, really. Then I look at it now and I see that most of the worries I had at 15, I have today. I am a person who is a nun, not a nun who used to be a person.
Well, Mrs. Shandig is my housekeeper with Sister Immaculata and Sister Mary Martha Hill. She can help you.
I shouldn't have spoken so plainly. I've angered you.
Not at all.
Would you wait then?
Why?
You're annoyed with me?
I'm not annoyed.
Then why do you seem so...
What do you want?
The church. There's a certain prayer. I promised my saint it would be the first.
Sister, you certainly don't need to apologize for praying.
Father, please don't be angry before you know me.
I'm not angry, except with the fact you keep telling me that I am.
I'm sorry.
You know, the other nuns don't talk this much. No, at least not with me. Then again, what could they? I do enjoy exchanging ideas, I do. It's just, well, you know, the people up here, they respect the church, but they expect the priests to just, well, I guess I'm just out of practice.
Well, I think conversation is as essential as air. If people don't talk with each other, what good is anything?
You know, I too made a completely terrible start when I first came to Solon.
I don't feel I've made a completely terrible start.
No, you haven't. I didn't mean that. It's just, well, when I came here 9 years ago, it had been so long since a priest had been appointed to Holy Rosary that Bishop Ginter wasn't even sure it would still be here. I think that's why he sent me here in the first place. You know how eager he is to expand. That and I needed a quiet parish to work on my book. It's called Augustinian Order, an examination and extension. And it's coming along. Not as fast as I'd hoped, but what with starting up the church here and getting the convent built by the men and converting a few of them in the process. Well, the book's coming along, just not as fast as I'd like. But at any rate, I came here and there was no one to greet me. So I asked the blacksmith for directions. Maurice Prindle, the blacksmith, is a bit of a practical joker. He sent me down to this little church. When I saw the sign, Solon Evangelical Methodist,
Bard, listen to me.
I did not kill Sister Rita. There's very little to hold on to. I doubted my sanity at moments, but I believe in God, the Father Almighty, there's that. But I don't have the church. All that helps that. It's just... she's haunted me.
Rivard, let's just say it. Let's just say, Rivard, I don't understand.
She did. That's what's just kept me
Rivard, get a hold of yourself.
It's true. She never left my side. Even after I left here. I went to Detroit, but I needed some kind of order. Something to just keep me focused. So I worked in a factory. That factory had endless overtime, you know. And I took it all. All of it, just so I'd be tired. In the factory, there's 2 big black belts that just keep bringing pieces down to you that you work with, and your hands move back and forth across the belts, over and over, day in and day out. All day. I took all that overtime to help. Still, I failed. All I could think about was her.
Sister Rita.
Yes. After work, I'd go home, turn the lights out, and lay down and fall right to sleep. But soon enough, my hands would just start moving again, like I was back in the factory. Back and forth. And I'd be awake. The room was dark, but there was still this light, a presence. Her. I thought, maybe by some sheer coincidence, she'd lived near the place when she was here. I mean, after all, it had those scraggly trees she talked about. So I moved. And I kept moving. Over and over. And finally, that feeling just abated. And I can't have it back. I can't.
Father, do you hear yourself? You talk like a guilty man.
You don't understand. That was the first time I approached actual happiness. Then in Detroit. No one knew who I was. No one expected anything from me. I want to live like that again. Walking, working, eating, sleeping. No past, no future. Just a very small present.
That's the kind of thinking your theology gets you into, Father. See, I understand something about you Catholics. I don't mind. I believe you are innocent. I don't know why, but just instinct, I guess. What people call leap of faith. But I've got to have hard facts, Father. I don't suppose there's any way I could convince the jury that the nun committed suicide.
No.
She was dead when you left, right?
They told me when they arrested me in Detroit. I didn't know she died.
She was alive when you left?
Yes.
You're certain?
Yes.
Then that's it.
What?
Your defense. I've got it. I've got it. It doesn't matter why, but when you left. Who saw you? Who knows that you left before Sister Rita was killed? Remember that day, Father. Think. Who can testify that you left before Sister Rita was murdered? You had to go through town, right? Who saw you? Maurice? He's always sitting up front.
Yes, Maurice. I asked him to do a chore at the Holy Rosary.
Good. Amos!
You're right. I'm strong enough now. I'll remember, you'll help me, and it'll all be over.
Now that I've got a handle on this, I know I can do good work. I'm good. Hell, I'm already better than I thought I'd be. Goodbye for now.
Sister, what's wrong? Mrs. Shandy. Don't cry, Father. I forgot the composition, so I had to run back to the
But
convent.
the noise, sister, and the laughing.
Yes, it's Louise doing her celebrated imitation of me. You could have watched them for me. I never.
Oh
did.
no, I never go to the school.
This is Louise's. Look at that. She writes so well.
Oh yes, very neat.
Well, just read a little.
Oh no, sister, I don't have time.
Mrs. Shandon?
Yes?
Oh, just remember, if you ever wanted to sit in the back of the classroom to listen to the singing.
Sister, ever since you came, I wanted to ask you.
What?
Father doesn't have to teach since you're here, but he works even harder on his books since you came, and I worry about him.
Why?
He's in that study from mass till supper most days, and I thought if I could read some of those books for him, I could tell them what's in him, and then he wouldn't get so tired and irritable. I want to help him, but well, you see,
I could teach you to read, Mrs. Shandon.
do you think I can learn reading?
Of course.
I am older, you know.
Anyone who knows the entire Mass by heart. I saw your lips following the Mass.
I wasn't always. I'm only a convert, sister. Father Rivard, he brought me into the church. Oh, I'm doing my bread.
When did all that happen?
2.5 years ago, when I came to Solon. I was married once before. Oh, I forgot about his eggnog.
Oh, here. I'll do that for you.
Thank you, sister. I never knew very much, cooking and cleaning, just that. I always worked at a camp lumbering. Those men, you wouldn't know how they are, sister. If I told you, you wouldn't like me.
You know that isn't true.
But the students are waiting for you.
I left Louise in charge. Right now, you're more than worthy, Mrs. Shandon.
I am? Well, my husband, he did the hunting for them at the camp. For as long as I can remember, he brought me those bleeding animals. I had to skin them and cook their bloody meat. Every day I hoped he wouldn't come back, sister. I did. I even prayed he wouldn't come back, and then eventually, he didn't come back. I thought it was my fault, but Father says it wasn't. I had to run away then from those other men in the camp. Without him there, they changed to me. They started grabbing after me, poking at me with their spoons. I can't tell you what happened next. I told Father. I never saw town until I saw Solon. They told me down there that Father needed a housekeeper. I owe everything to Father, so I have to help him as much as can be. I tried to be the best Catholic for him, but it's harder, me only being a convert.
They always told me that converts are the best Catholics. Did you know that? You can be proud of it. You made a choice. I never had a choice.
Don't tell anyone I wasn't born Catholic. No one else knows.
Someday, you look through Father's Saints book and you count how many of the saints were converts. You'll see.
I can't read yet. I just want to.
Well, soon, Mrs. Shandon. Very soon.
At the time of the murder of Sister Rita, you were the chief administrator of the Michigan Diocese of the Holy Roman Church.
I was and am the secretary to Bishop Ginter, a position of greater responsibility than the title suggests.
Did you visit the defendant in his cell this morning?
I did.
What was the purpose of your meeting?
I offered to hear confession.
Did he accept the sacrament?
Objection. The prosecutor's attempting to seek, what do you call it?
Privileged communication.
Privileged communication between the clergyman and the penitent.
I wouldn't seek privileged communication. I repeat, did the defendant confess?
No, he is no longer a practicing Catholic.
I talked to Maurice. He says he did do the trophy down at the church, but he didn't see Sister Rita.
But he must have.
I'll swear her oath that he didn't. I'm talking to the sheriff to see if he can locate your Mrs. Shandig. Don't be discouraged. I'll think of something.
Father, are you all right? Father, if I'm disturbing you, tell me and I'll just...
No, Mrs. Shandig, I'm glad you're here. I am.
Here, it's time for your eggnog.
Thank you. determined to fatten me up, aren't you?
Oh, Father, go on with you. We all have to keep up our health with the other nuns so sickly. Father, can I ask you something?
Of course you can.
It's personal, Father, and I don't want to be prying. I don't. Too thick don't mix, I always say.
Come on now, Mrs. Shandig.
You seem so bothered.
I am bothered. I have a great many things to worry about. What do they expect of me? Bishop Ginter wants me to write this book, which everyone knows is a nearly impossible task. Then I have to turn the buttons from the collection plate into food for 5 mouths, and convince my very poor farmers to build a second outhouse so the children can have recess at the same time. And on top of all of that, you expect me to drink the richest, most repulsive concoction since...
You don't have to drink it. I'm only trying to help.
I realize that. I'm sorry.
Only if you want it.
I do.
Well, I guess it's best you say those things to me instead of talking to yourself out loud in your study.
You can hear me?
Just a bit. Sometimes I never understand about your writing problems, but if you talk with someone...
Maybe if I could talk things out, maybe it would clarify. You know who I could talk to about my book?
Sister Rita.
Yes. She's worked out well, hasn't she? Look down there. School was over half an hour ago, and they're still asking her questions. Perhaps we can invite her up for supper some night.
You'd be alone with a nun, Father.
Well, believe it or not, I'm capable of remarkable...
I know that. Why, Father, everyone thinks that you're the finest person that ever they knew.
Well, they should, shouldn't they?
I think so.
I care about others, don't I?
Yes, you do, Father.
Like Sister. When the other nun's ill, she's all alone.
Father, you know nuns expect to be lonely.
No. No one expects to be lonely. It's something I never understood. Everyone treats loneliness as if it's contagious, as if by intervening they'll catch it themselves. It makes us wonder if we're naturally cruel. If humans have something deep inside that makes us, unlike God, revel in misery.
I hope I'm not interrupting. Children and I just had the most wonderful idea. What is wrong?
Shouldn't you have sent a note first, Sister?
We just thought of it.
The other nuns always ask to see me first.
It's only for the children, Sister. They'll be thinking it's all right to come running over here whenever they want.
Father, I'm sorry.
Actually, I don't mind. I'm like you. I tend to be too pragmatic, often forgetting that there are excellent reasons for traditions that are momentarily troublesome, just as Mrs. Shandig was reminding me. Tell me, what have you and the students thought of?
Painting.
Well, what would they paint, Sister?
The coat room's covered in little handprints.
No. Pictures. Flowers. Trees. Their houses.
I like it, Sister. I like it.
Thank you, Father.
The lives of the saints will make excellent artwork.
We can even add it to the curriculum.
We wouldn't have to do that. We'd have to write the bishop.
Well, tell him our problem. I've never seen children with so little sense of what is good in life. So little imagination.
I do like the idea, Sister. Now we have to worry about paper.
There's plenty of composition paper, Father.
Now your imagination is wanting, Sister. Life has to be bigger than composition paper. Tell me, would it matter if the paper were tan?
Why?
There's a butcher in Traverse City who's Catholic.
Bernard Christensen.
Next time I take the nuns to the doctor, I'll stop by and pay him a visit.
What about paints?
Maybe when you write the bishop, you can send
I'd rather not write the bishop.
I have the Sears and Roebuck catalog in my room.
Good, we'll try that.
I could write the bishop. He's very proud of me because...
No, I don't want you to. Then you might be in as much difficulty as I am.
Well, what difficulty?
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing much, I suppose.
Well, I wouldn't care what you did to me. I wouldn't feel right having the children paint during school time unless it was part of the curriculum.
Well, what difficulty are you talking about?
I understand there have been no priest assigned to Solon for nearly a decade prior to Father Ravar.
9 years.
Now, why was such a change made?
Father Rivard's particular talents seem more useful up here.
Was he sent to this out-of-the-way post because he was a troublemaker?
Father Rivard was incredibly energetic and popular with parishioners, therefore a bit of an aggravation to the senior priests wherever we put him. The bishop thought by bringing him into the chancery he might personally be able to help guide the young priest, but Father did not readily accede to such help. The bishop had to request me to stop Father from entering his office without an appointment. He would burst in no matter who was present, bringing up an obscure theological point, suggest his ideas for raising funds through games of chance, as is done in certain eastern cities. And there was ultimately an incident of his usurping the distinct responsibility of Bishop Ginter.
You told me to look in on Mother Vincent.
But not to give last rites. You knew the bishop was available.
She asked me to. She begged me to. She was so feverish, she was nearly mad.
She asked, did she?
Yes,
Of course, you'd assume there's no way for me to confirm that.
we were alone.
Mother Vincent did not die.
That's wonderful. No one told me. Well,
And she remembers nothing of requesting the last rites. In fact,
well, she was so feverish. She must have just.
enough. You're to be assigned immediately to a parish far from the chancery.
She was punishing me for being compassionate.
Is that the way you see it?
I know Bishop Ginter was an effort.
Father Rivard, I hardly think I need to remind you again that I speak for the bishop.
When a priest is asked to give the sacrament, he is bound to give it. Did you want a medical opinion? By that point, you could have been dead.
The bishop assumes you've read St. Augustine, Confessiones, De Civitate Dei.
Of course.
Have you read De Fide Vero?
Of true religion.
I didn't think a translation necessary. When a young man about your age, I would say, Aurelius Augustinius, before he was bishop of Hippo, before he was even consecrated bishop, he went into a 5-year period of seclusion where he wrote many philosophical studies. It tuned his mind, disciplined his spirit, and prepared him for the robes you were so eager to don. So you shall read of true religion closely, carefully, and then write your new concept of the church's authority. When you have finished in a couple of years, I would say, I shall read it. When I have read it, the bishop will read it. We'll discuss your new understanding and future.
I won't do it.
Why?
Priests are assigned according to the needs of the parish and the talents.
Enough! Questioning dogma and usurping the bishop's responsibilities, now scattering last rites like a housewife feeding fowl? I've located a parish that will suit your contemplative pursuits.
Contemplative? I am not a contemplative man. You don't know me if you waste the good I'm capable of.
Of which you are capable. The native name for Solon is Land of Libravos. Attractive, peaceful, perfect for the seclusion St. Augustine similarly sought out in his studies.
I won't go until I speak with the bishop.
He's consecrating a church in Saginaw. He left you a letter. He wishes you Godspeed.
Now what about this business I've been told that Sister Rita lived with you?
She did not live with me. It was an emergency measure. She slept in the rectory. We seldom even ate together.
I've got 2 days. These circuit judges don't smile on long trials, Father. Don't withhold information from me.
It was not important.
That prosecutor can build his whole case on this. He's good. He's young. Why? At the rate he's going, he'll be writing laws in Lansing before he's 35. This is exactly the kind of thing that Protestants are sure happens behind those heavy-laced curtains in rectories. If there's one thing they hate more than Catholics out here, it's sex. Why'd you take her out of the convent and into the house with you?
The other 2 nuns had consumption. They couldn't be moved.
Couldn't you move her to another convent?
I was afraid we'd have to close the school.
Father, I can't believe you'd even think of closing the school.
Why would you have to close the school? I don't understand.
Mrs. Shandig said I have to leave
But you
because-
taught before the nuns came.
I couldn't teach all the classes.
Not all by yourself. We could share the teaching and keep the school open.
Why did she have to live in the rectory of all places? Come on, Rivard. You said you were strong enough. For God's sake, give me some help.
She couldn't live under the same roof as 2 consumptives.
There are rooms to rent up on Maurice's blacksmith shop.
That would be too dangerous, sister. Last year they broke into Widow Weber's house.
But then up here, the rectory, your house.
Your community would never allow it, sister. We have the holy laws to guide us.
I believe the church stands for people, not laws. If you wrote Mother Vincent, she'd realize.
I wish I could, but priests don't deal with the mother house. Only the bishop.
Then ask him for a dispensation. Then Mother Vincent would have to.
Sister, this is not easy, but it must be. It must be.
Very little must be, Father. Please. God knows everything we do is for the church. We do it for the sake of his children. And they are responding to me, learning from me. They need me, Father. Please. It could be months before there'd be another teaching assignment for me again. I don't think they believe I'm a very good teacher. I didn't really want to set me up here. But I have been good, haven't I?
This is not a personal question. I built the school. I want it open.
But this is my responsibility.
Your personal salvation, your life in Christ, that is my responsibility.
And what about your responsibility to the children?
You want to break the rules for yourself, not the children. You feel useful. That is the sin of pride.
And you keeping the school open all by yourself? How good would that be for the children?
I'm doing the best I can, sister. I cannot do more.
What have I done wrong? Why do you want me to leave?
I didn't say I want you to leave. This is not a personal question. Why do you insist upon making everything a personal question?
The letter's here from the bishop, Father. He won't let Sister move in here. I am certain of it. I don't even know why you asked him.
He lets you live here, Mrs. Shandick.
But I'm not a nun. I'm not. That makes all the difference. What did he tell you, Father?
He doesn't want me to close the school.
But Sister. What does he say about Sister?
Nothing. He
No.
doesn't mention her.
No, but he had to. He told you she couldn't live here, didn't he?
I am stunned to read that you considered suspending classes at the very time our diocese is enjoying the most rapid rate of expansion of any in America. Your fine record cannot but reassure me that you have already resolved your local administrative problems without further need of advice from me. I am certain you are finding staying in the village uncomfortable, but it will surely not be for long. You didn't even answer me. It's Monsignor, that hypocrite.
Father, what's wrong? He wasn't talk so.
You heard what he wants. He wants me to live in the village, leave 4 women defenseless up on this hill.
Father, you can't go down there. Those men are vicious. They're vicious. I go down there every day. I know.
Do you want me to leave?
Do you want sister to live in the village?
No, Father.
Everything we do is for the church.
Here. My house. I'll go and tell her.
Father, no, the church has a rule.
I know church rules only too well, and I certainly don't need you to remind me.
Father, why do you talk like this? I'm only trying to help. It's wrong for Sister to move in here. I just know it.
I believe it is the will of God that we keep our school open. I'm sorry if your interpretation differs from mine.
Father, please, I'm trying. I don't know what to do for you anymore. I just want to be so good for you.
No more of that. No crying. Everything will be all right. Come along. Prosecution post Miss Louise Donnelly for the people.
Did you know Sister Rita well, Louise?
Yes, as a matter of fact. It was she who first suggested I have potentiality for college. No girl from Solon would ever have thought of such a thing. I just completed 1 semester at Central Normal. I am, in a sense, indebted to Sister Rita. I mean, she had flaws, I suppose, being a nun and all, but she always...
Did you know Father Rivard?
Yes.
How would you describe him?
We liked him. That is until Sister moved into the rectory with him. After that, in catechism...
She moved in with the priest.
I remember the day. It was like a holiday. All Sister did was lead games and teach songs. That night she moved into his house. By the next morning, everyone knew she was living in the rectory with him.
Rather sad offering, I'm afraid. This is my first evening, my first dinner. I wanted to bring you something. Are there any flowers up here in the summer? I saw you planting in your garden, Mrs. Shantic, but you only planted vegetables.
Sister, you're right. That's what's missing up here. Flowers. I suppose I could transplant some lilacs up from the valley, but they wouldn't stand much of a chance if I did. I don't have a knack for making things grow. They'd be green for about as long as it takes them to die.
Listen, if you'll get the lilac, I could start a garden down the hill of it, and then they'll see flowers when they do the Holy Rosary. I haven't had a garden since I was 14, when they took me to Guardian Angel.
How are Sister Martha and Sister Immaculata tonight?
Well enough to end me moving here, I suppose. Especially Sister Martha. She's the clever one, you know. She was joking.
Oh. It will be cool tonight. I thought we might have dessert in my study. I've laid the fire with birch.
It's very thoughtful, Father. Thank you.
Of course. Yes, it's nice to look ahead to a.
Planning ahead can be the best part sometimes, though, don't you think? I visited Governor Preenby once. We planned it for 2 months. A group of novices went on the train down to Lansing, the 4th of July. When I got back, I showed my aunt my postcards. I could finally show my aunt things.
Didn't your aunt like to speak with you?
Well, I think communicating is very important. For me, conversation is as essential as breathing.
I've noticed.
But my aunt, I loved her, Father. I did. But I wasn't her niece. Not really. She was paid to take care of me. Her husband had an accident in the barn with a horse. He was asleep without ever waking up for several days before he died. My aunt blamed me. She said it was my fault. And I was playing up at the law. In a way, it was. I had to sit by his bed then. I was so scared. I didn't know what was to become of me if he died. I remember looking out the window. And there was a little sparrow. He made me laugh. My aunt heard me laughing. She got so angry that she said, terrible, cruel, that nobody loved me, or ever would love me. She said that no one would ever even talk with me after what I don't know exactly what happened. There were days that, well, they said the priest, Father Wally, could hear me when he came and made her unlock me. And he took me away to Guardian Angel Convent. There, the good sisters watched over me. That's what you know. The first thing. Not thinking of the past.
Perhaps Mrs. Shandy just forgot we're here. Mrs. Shandy, we're ready to eat. It's a stew. You sample what she cooks in the afternoon. It's quite good.
Since Mrs. Shandick has Thursdays for her days off, I thought you might like it if I cooked for us.
That would be splendid, but only if you have time.
I'll have time. I'm going to live here. I want to do my share. That should make it a bit easier on you, Mrs. Shandick. Is there a little jug, Mrs. Shandick? We could put some water in it and the flowers might be
We don't have anything the right size, sister.
Even a glass would be.
Please grab a glass for the flowers, Miss Shandy. I've not had flowers where I live since I was a boy. I'd like it. You can put it in my study with one of your doilies on me.
Yes, Father.
I think I must have hurt Mrs. Shandick somehow. Maybe in her reading lesson?
She likes flowers, I think.
Well, have I offended her? I'd apologize.
Bless us, O Lord, for these thy gifts which we are about
No, it was me. I've offended her. Mrs. Shandig thinks you and I should not have meals together. She thinks there will be ramifications.
But there are none. Mrs. Shandig is in the house. This is exactly what Sister Martha was teasing me about.
People want to expect the worst. You know, when I was a young man, a teenager actually, there was a time I fell terribly and instantly in love with a merchant's daughter who wore long, blonde sausage curls. It's true. It all would have come to naught except she found my eyelashes to be a marvel of the modern world. Those were her words, I'm afraid. You know, no nice girls in our town had ever worn sausage curls. But this one did. She came from a good family. And I was hooked. There was even a time when we thought it would be romantic if we could convince the priest to let us take confession together. However, everyone warned me of the dangers that would come with a girl with sausage curls. I listened. My uncle, cousins, the priest, the barber, all warned me in great detail of the dangers that would come with her. I was so worried about what they thought of me that I listened to all their words. Some words I didn't even know the definition of, but they became everyday occurrences, hourly horrors eventually. They tore at me like a dog with a knotted sock. I listened to them every time. It got worse and worse, and then finally she was sent away. Sent away in front of the whole town, humiliated. It was all mine. There I go, talking about the past.
Don't be unrealistic in what you expect of yourself, Father. Everyone thinks of the past. It's natural.
I think it's the Baptists. They stand up in front of the congregation and tell all the sins they committed before they were saved. And I always felt like if I did that, if I told everyone what I was like before the priesthood, they'd either reject me outright or know just how essential the church is for a good life. The church is the most magnificent thing of which I can conceive. Like a beautiful piece of art. Wonderful in every way. But this last winter here, these slow country people, it seems as if, I don't know, it seems as if I've weakened. It's made me worry that my church is not as powerful as I thought it was. And then you came. You came with your vitality and your joy for teaching, your love for the church. And I came back. But now they talk of you moving in here. And it's like another cloud is settling on us. And I worry. I worry that we'll never find justice in people.
Well, we don't always see it, I know. But God is just. And we couldn't know God if justice weren't in us.
Sister, this is why people don't want nuns and priests alone together.
I don't know.
It encourages a lack of discipline. I'm afraid we can no longer have our meals together.
Father, when we talk, everything seems all right.
What does that mean?
Like, I'm a person? I'm so weary of hearing Sister's book, Sister's rosary, Sister's this, Sister's that, never just hers.
It is not for us to worry about the world like that. We must be above all of that chaos.
But God isn't separate. Not from us. do or think. He came to earth as a baby, worked as a carpenter, drank wine, loved the children. We are like God, and you can't make God into something else than what you already know. If you do that, then you are making God into your image, and he made us.
Sister! Sister, you know, you sound very much like a Protestant.
Were there any other unusual changes after Sister started living with the priest?
Sophie, she was another student. Sophie and I, we had a great fiction between us that the priest and sister were in love.
Did I hear right? In love?
Objection. The testimony reads, Sophie and I had a great fiction.
What gave rise to this fiction?
Well, for example, when we went to town, sister would watch him through the window writing down while she talked. He was, still is, a very attractive man.
Mr. Rivard's appeal to the witness has never been in question.
Did you ever confront either the sister or the priest with your opinions, Louise?
Yes, Sophie dared me to ask Sister Rita why priests and nuns couldn't marry.
Sister tells me you're full of questions these days, Louise.
So is Sophie.
I didn't ask to speak with you so I could punish you.
And why?
That's it. I thought it might be nice for the two of us to have a conversation. Maybe I could answer some of these questions for you.
Your house is nice, Father.
Thank you.
Sister Rita's nice.
A good teacher.
Better than Sister Immaculata. She's crappy.
Well, she's not well.
Do you think Sister Rita's nice, Father?
Yes.
How much?
What do you mean?
I like her a lot.
You should.
Do you?
How often do you think of this?
What?
Sister and I.
Never.
Lies are venial sins, Louise.
I thought you liked me.
That's why I want to help
You don't like me.
you. Louise, I like you, all right?
If you did, you'd tell me things.
What things?
Things?
It is very hard to carry on a conversation with you, Louise.
What if someone loved you?
I see.
I mean, priests love everyone, don't they?
Yes, everyone. And that's different. It's a different kind of love. It's not the same when you say you love everyone. You understand?
No.
Love between a man and a woman is unordered.
Families are ordered.
Married love is totally consuming. It takes a great deal of time, effort, and frustration. Now that I think of it, I wonder why anyone goes to the trouble.
Oh, I know why.
I doubt you do.
I understand things so well when you explain them. I love your devotions.
Thank you.
So, tell me, Father,
What?
what would you do if someone said they loved you?
Sister Rita and I have to be clear-headed. How would her and I be married if we had to worry about the ice bills and the children's teeth?
I didn't mean Sister Rita. What would you say?
There are things, young lady, that are a sin to even think about, let alone do. Remember that. One must control their thoughts as well as their actions. To think something is as great a sin as to do it.
Thank you. There aren't raw eggs in this, are there?
It's good for you.
Oh, I hate raw eggs. Can I go?
Of course.
Bye. Those are some ideas she has there, Father.
Yes, aren't they?
Do you think you could have imagined a romance because being such a obviously aware, intelligent child, you did observe precisely the telling details which could lead to the only possible logical conclusion?
The priest was having carnal knowledge of the nun.
It's not the only conclusion. It's certainly not a possible conclusion. It's not a logical conclusion. I don't even think it is a conclusion.
I withdraw the question. Your witness.
Now, Louise, did you ever imagine the priest in bed?
I don't know. Probably I did.
Who did you imagine was in bed with him in your fantasies?
I guess Sister Rita.
What do you guess you imagined them doing?
I didn't know them about such things.
You didn't.
Well, just sounds. I imagine sounds, that's all.
Did you ever imagine anyone other than Sister Rita up there in bed with the priest making sounds? Anyone at all? Did you confess your fantasies to the priest?
He was most cruel and extreme in his penance,
Extreme.
especially after the Monsignor visited.
He was even stricter after the Monsignor visited.
He forbade me having lunch with the other children and instead made me say endless Hail Marys and Our Fathers during recess. You can't imagine the ridicule to which I was subjected. I was a sensitive child. I begged him to relent, but not him.
It would be nice to get even, wouldn't it, Louise? No further questions.
Father Rivard, after your extraordinary request, a sister of mercy living in the rectory, I thought it best I visit. I am most curious to discover why the question was ever asked.
Oh, it's come so far, not even let us prepare.
Not far. The bishop is consecrating a parish hall in Traverse City tonight. He has but 1 hour. Will you have your cook fetch your sister from the convent for me?
But, sir, you see, Sister Rita,
She's teaching.
the school, yes, she might be there.
Then someone will watch your class.
Oh, but we don't have classes on Saturday.
Do you wish me not to speak with sister, Father?
No, not at all. I'll go myself.
Perhaps there's something I might be reading in the meantime, for company.
Of course, sir. You'll see I have 3 chapters finished already.
And how many will there be?
It's 7.
I see, one for each of the deadly sins.
Yes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Might I take it that this parish is not to your liking?
You'll see the other 4 chapters are outlined in detail.
Someone visiting, Father.
Everyone was here for confession this morning.
It's that sun. All but makes you see things.
Just imagine how it will be on the farms come harvest. They can't possibly carry enough water to their fields. Just our gardens are more than enough to do.
Sister, those aren't weeds. They're new radishes.
I'm sorry.
Sister, I never wanted you to move in because of the rule, but I like having you at the rectory, I do.
I do too, Mrs. Shantig.
Sister, I need to speak with you. Monsignor Nicholson is here,
Right here, in Solon.
in my office.
Oh no, not when it looks so. I haven't dusted since Tuesday.
I'd rather the Monsignor not know that Sister's staying in the rectory.
Doesn't he know already?
Do you mean I should lie?
No, everything's short of it. Monsignor Nicholson, he's always looking for some excuse that shows that I'm not worthy.
Father, I'll help.
Come along now.
Pity, Father, far more than I expected.
Why?
Sister, the bishop wishes you greetings.
Thank you, Monsignor.
He's concerned for your well-being.
Well, when the doctor comes to visit Sister, he talks with all of us.
He wonders if we shouldn't consider closing the school if it isn't.
Father worked so hard to build it, and
Yes, but until any danger of consumption,
there's none. I'm not exposed to it.
you're not.
Sister doesn't sleep in the same room as them.
You're the cook.
Mrs. Shandig, Monsignor.
Sister, where do you sleep since the other sisters
Of
are...
course. I see them for prayers, but we are careful.
Sister?
Sugar, Monsignor?
I go to Mass in the church.
None of
They
these.
take the sacrament.
Have you any thoughts on the progress of my book?
No, and I don't have time for tea. Sister, I asked where you sleep.
At least tell me, please, does the book look to be acceptable?
Are you all hiding something from me?
I sleep in the convent, of course. Are you going to come visit the school before you leave, Monsignor?
Certainly. Thank you, sister.
We are terribly pleased with what the children have accomplished.
What have I done?
What have I done?
I've stopped reading lessons.
Why?
I won't be taking Thursdays off for a while. I'll do the cooking.
But that's the one day I cook. It gives you a little time for yourself, Mrs. Shanty.
I just stay in my room anyways. You cook too much.
Just Thursdays?
No, too much meat. What am I to do with leftover meat on Fridays?
Why didn't you say anything, Mrs. Shanty?
I told Father.
He hasn't said anything. He's not said one word to me this last week about anything.
He broke my bowl.
What do you mean?
My good one.
Why, Mrs. Shanty?
My blue glass fruit bowl on purpose. I don't know, sister. Father's so strange. I'm worried. I told him about the leftover meat. He banged the table so hard he knocked my bowl right over.
What did he say about me?
I'm going to Leland. I'll not be home in time for supper, Miss Shanty.
I could wait up and cook you
I have
some...
to speak at the Grange. I believe they're serving dinner there.
Why are you pretending like I'm not here?
Because as far as I'm concerned, you're not.
Father, if you excuse me, I have to.
No, you stay. You were right, Mrs. Shandy. I should not have let Sister move into the rectory. But now that she's lied to the Monsignor, I can't send her to Detroit or they'd punish her, so...
But you were there. You could have corrected me, Father.
From now on, when you see me in the halls, on the stairs, anywhere, you will ignore it. It will be as if you're back in the convent. I will act the same. If I need to speak with you, I'll come to the school.
But, Father, I only lied to Monsignor so that you wouldn't. Father, a month. It's been 1 month since Monsignor visited. 4 weeks, Father.
What are you making?
Flowers? For the school. I thought the younger children could paint them bright colors and Louise could hang them up with the compositions.
I see.
There are so few flowers in the drought. The few in my garden will be gone by the weekend. Fridays I let the children take home little bouquets. Everything's so brown, these will be nice. Nice. Are you going to resume reading lessons after All Saints?
Mrs. Shandy, I wasn't aware that you'd stopped.
What's the use, Father? There's no time. There's no time, Father.
We'll all be cooped up in here when it snows. The children can't get up past the hills most days, they told me. By springtime, you could be a wonderful reader. Why do you burn your lamp so late at night, Mrs. Shandy? Makes a square of light on the ground.
I hear you walking, sister, so I work on the menu.
Didn't know you could hear me. I pray.
You must walk when you pray too, sister.
Sorry. Didn't know you could hear me. I like to look down at the valley. Try to imagine why those 3 or 4 windows have such a warm glow so late at night. Party? Someone sick? Student preparing for an exam? Baby being born? Do you know what I mean, Mrs. Chamber?
I don't know, sister. You are none. I never know what to say about such things. I don't pray when I stand. I don't think you're supposed to. Are you, Father? I'm sorry you want to read, don't you?
It's not disrespectful if you want to pray, Mrs. Shanty. God gave us a brain, after all, and I think He expects us to use it.
Father, I wish sister wouldn't talk personal like this. I don't understand things the way you do, sister.
But you talk personal with the other sisters. I hear you, Mrs. Shanty.
Not blasphemy, sister.
Mrs. Shandy, let me speak with Sister. We'll say the rosary later.
Yes, Father.
very close to serious difficulty?
No. Why?
We cannot talk like this, sister.
We cannot talk. We have not spoken a word to each other this last month about anything.
Just as it should be, sister.
No. I am here, and you have got to let me help you. It is useless to stay locked in your study all day, striking out at poor Mrs. Shandon, when all you need to do is... I don't live in the convent. I won't be ignored.
I want you to think about what you just said. Then you tell me. In confession. That's the appropriate place for you to speak with me.
Well, I suppose it all sounds especially Protestant to your particularly Catholic ears.
Yes, it does. It sounds like...
I am trying to be a good nun.
I know.
These last weeks, nothing is like I expected. A guardian angel. We laughed all of the time. And they held you if you cried. Here, the nuns just lay in their beds, and when I walk in, they have nothing to say to me, and yet they talk to her all of the time.
You have your students.
Yes, I do. I love watching them play together, running up and down the hill. But sometimes I even wish they'd fall and scrape their knees so that I'll come to them. That's awful. I didn't realize until I just said. What's wrong? You know, maybe if I could just talk it out, everything would be so much better. Could we have dinner together again sometime? It's been so long since I ate with anyone.
We must accept God's will.
It cannot be God's will that we remain unhappy.
One does not question God.
I never questioned God.
I think you want the church to be imperfect.
I do not.
You want the church to be perfectly human. Well, humans are imperfect. You can't bend and break the rules of the church every which way for your own needs.
Father, I didn't mean...
In Italy, the peasants pray as they crawl up massive stone steps to the churches. The skin on their legs is torn and tattered and bloody. Bits of gravel stick to their flesh. Their best pants tear through, and you can see the human's bones underneath. They don't cry. They don't weep. They don't whine because they're happy. Because they know God is happy. Because His pain equals your pain. His pain equals yours in hearing your pitiful prayers. And don't stand when you pray, especially you stood. If you kneel, you'll feel the humility. You'll stop questioning every single...
Stop it! Stop it! I can't stand this. Have you ever been human? God is perfectly aware I love and respect Him, Father, and He knows I am human. Every breath I let out and every movement I make, I try and make for Him. And if I got closer to God, praying, standing on my head, I would stand on my head.
Christ knelt.
I'm all alone. If there was just one part of you that was human, I don't believe you have the same blood in your veins as I do. I don't believe it. Do you? Do you bleed when you're cut? There's nothing human about you.
Stay away from me. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done
give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who
Guard!
trespass against us. And lead us not
Guard!
into temptation, but deliver us.
Can you hear me?
Amen.
Guard!
Easy, easy.
You wake the whole damn town.
How late is it? After 10:30. Is that all you wanted? I'll get you a clock tomorrow, damn.
Would you mind talking with me just for a bit?
Why?
I can't sleep, so sit down. I suppose you know who the prosecutor's calling next?
Sure. Why?
You seem like the kind of young man who knows what's going on.
Erna Prindle. He's calling her.
Why Erna?
Well, he's desperate, of course. Lost everything on the lease. Old Toby's really giving him a run for his money. Erna's not gonna say nothing. Maurice Prindle don't like you, RCs. He'll beat her black and blue if she lets on that she like being a Catholic. Last year you should have seen her. Hanging those trays up here with the broken arm. I'll eat.
Amos, I suppose you could figure a way for me to talk with Erna?
Sure.
Before the testimony, I just want to...
Oh, no. No, Father. Ain't nobody can pull the wool over these eyes.
No, I want to comfort her. Tell her not to
Sure.
defend me.
And tell her what you want her to say. Pretend a confession or something and tell her what to do. I know about you, RCs. And Father, I don't like it. Never did. Even before the murder.
So this is Ernest. Music box.
What you said about me last night, it was not true.
I never should have. I'm sorry, Father. It's just
Let me say this outright. Then it will all be over. You'll forget last night. You see, all of this, it's your fault. And I need your help.
What is my fault?
I can't get done what I should. Here, coming to Ernest, it's very routine for a priest, and I have to be a good priest to do it. And I have to be a good priest because...
I never said you weren't a good priest.
Please, sister, hear me out. I can learn. Or rather, relearn. I can change. Admitting that I'm afraid isn't a start. I already have. It's just, well, here at Ernest, I'm here to comfort her. And I have to tell you, Ernest's mother is going to die. The doctor told me. I'm here to comfort her, and I thought long and hard about what you said about me last night. What you think of me. And very early this morning, I decided you should be here to help me make a new start. And
You want me to help?
yes,
Thank you, Father.
Mom is still sleeping. I checked.
My aunt's husband was sick, something like your mother, Anna. Same. He stayed just sleeping, like your mother, 5 days.
But he died. Mama's not going to die.
But before, actually the hardest. I was terrified to be in his room, ashamed not to be.
I fear she'll hear me crying.
I know. I tried to keep it inside so that my uncle couldn't hear me. Of course, he couldn't. He was much younger than me. I didn't know what was to become of me if he died.
Sister, perhaps Erna wouldn't want to hear about this.
Oh yes, Father. It's just the same. I have to keep quiet too. I don't know what'll happen. Mom and I, we take care of each other.
When I was in his room, I remember looking out the window. It was spring. I had just planted my garden. There was a little sparrow at the feeder, but I'd forgotten to put out crumbs for worrying. And suddenly, the sparrow flew down to my garden and started eating the seeds I had just planted.
That's awful.
He was hungry. I wondered how he knew to do that. Whatever could make him know that there were seeds there. Then I remembered that God watches over all things, even the sparrows. I laughed.
Oh, sister!
What Sister's trying to say is that obviously God was watching her at a time of need, just as he will watch over you and your mother, Erna.
And of course, that is all I wanted to say.
Mama's not going to die, is she?
Your mother's lived a good life. She's a good Catholic. You don't have to worry.
No! Mama's not going to die!
Please, Erna, listen to me. Crying won't help.
It can, Father. Just let her.
You must accept God's will, Erna.
I don't want to be alone. What'll happen to me out here? I can't be alone.
Erna,
Father, perhaps it would be better if...
your mother's in God's hands now, isn't she? Erna, you don't have to cry.
I can't help it. When it starts, I just can't.
Pray for strength. Say your rosary. They who wait upon the Lord shall have their strength renewed. They shall run with wings as eagles and not be weary. See, if you pray for strength, you'll resist the temptation
To be human? People have to cry, Father. Before you said that you...
Erna, tears are personal destruction, and destruction of anything is an affront to God.
But Jesus wept. God was not affronted when his only begotten...
Erna, you must accept all of God's world, not just that which pleases you. Sit. Let me tell you a story of when I was a boy.
Are you from Detroit too, Father?
No. I came from a very large family. So large that when strangers asked, I would tell them I was an only child just to feel special. But a very serious problem hit me in my family. Diphtheria. In one winter, I buried 9 brothers and sisters. And my papa. After the first one, the baby, no amount of coaxing could get me to stop crying. Yes, sister, I cried. I didn't understand why God would let such senseless deaths happen. Why the baby? Why Papa? We were quarantined, so I had to help. Every time I helped, I just kept right on crying as if the person I was helping was already dead. After a visit from me, my mother would spend an hour in the sick room calming the patient back down. Although we were quarantined, I had to get away, so I'd go out in the yard, and I'd run as fast and as hard as I could because I'd hoped the tears would dry in my eyes and I'd stop crying. I prayed to God and asked him for strength to stop crying. He didn't hear me. I remember thinking, this is all so worthless, it would make no difference if I sat down on the riverbank, relaxed, and slid right out in the water and drowned.
No, Father.
How could God let the world get so cruel? After all, we know everything is God. He even allows evil into the world so we can confront it. And then it hit me. Everything. The good, the bad, even the evil, is God. And to deny any of it is to deny God. And when you deny God, he will cast you out into everlasting. I stopped crying. I went home, and I worked hard. Harder than even my mother. I went through the crisis nights with a sister, and then a brother. And the doctors told me that I just may have saved their lives. You see, once I stopped crying, I became useful to God. and I have not cried since.
I can't help it. When it starts, I just... I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
No, Erna's right. She understands that
You
crying.
don't apologize for crying. For feeling. Erna only needs...
Sister, now is not the appropriate time to discuss this.
Oh no! Please! Please, not yet. I'll go get the coffee and the muffins. Your favorite.
You should not have spoken to me as you did in front of Erna.
You asked me to help you.
You made her cry. Erna has to have strength out here.
She does not need to be a saint.
You leave here. She does not. Erna has to have control.
She's not crying because she's selfish. She's crying because she's scared. Erna needs to believe that she won't be left all alone. That's all she
The
needs.
church does not exist to meet every sniveling need that people have for it.
The church does not despise people and what they do.
As long as you were in my charge, you will never question me again.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been 1 week since my last confession. Father, ever since we went out to Erna's farm, I've been trying to figure out what I did wrong.
My child, do you feel you may have been presumptuous?
Yes, every week I confess that imperfection, but there must be something more that I should confess.
No, sister, that is all.
Then why do you act like I'm...
How do I act? This is confession.
But it is my only chance,
You
Father.
talk to God here. Only God. Do you hear me?
Father Var gets so angry with me, God. I don't know why. I don't know what he expects of me. I don't know what it is I do that makes him so...
No, I'm not hearing this the way I should.
But it's my confession.
I don't have the proper attitude and distance.
You can't stop my confession. I have to confess. What will happen? I can't go to communion.
Did Father Avad say a novena after your mother's death?
Yes, to St. Jude,
Who was this saint? Saint Jude?
the patron of hopeless and desperate causes.
Hopeless, desperate.
He said we both needed strength.
The priest needed strength because he was hopeless and desperate.
Objection. The prosecutor's not only leading the witness, he is...
I withdraw the question. Erna, what do you
For
think?
Mama. For Mama. The novena was for Mama. He didn't pray for himself. He prayed for everybody. That's what they do.
Erna, please, Erna, only answer my questions. If just thinking about novenas is upsetting, we'll talk about something else. Why did you stop being a Catholic?
I'm a born Catholic.
In what church were you married?
Can we talk about something else?
Mrs. Brindle, in which church choir do you sing?
I'm a Methodist, but I'm a Catholic too. I'm raising up the children as Catholic as can be. Father, I'm teaching them the rosary.
Maurice's children know the rosary.
No.
Does your husband Maurice know about the rosaries in the house?
Leave her alone.
It wasn't wrong to marry him. Maurice is a good man. No other priest ever came to Holy Rosary after Father left.
So that was reason enough to desert your church?
It wasn't like that.
Erna, how can we understand that a good Catholic girl who knows all about novenas and saints and heaven knows what, a girl who would teach her Protestant children secretly the rosary, how can we understand she would marry outside the church?
Sister said
Sister Rita
Yes.
told you to marry a Methodist.
It wasn't like that.
How was it then, Erna?
No, there weren't any unmarried men who were Catholic. After Mama died, I was teaching her some handwork. On the day of the fire, I brought her some John Quill bulbs and to work with her, and she said it was all right to go to the Methodist socials. That's all.
To look for a husband.
No, it wasn't like that.
And you hooked Maurice, right?
No! Sister said it was all right to go to the Methodist socials.
Erna, as a former are Catholic, would you expect a good nun to encourage a mixed marriage?
Sister Rita.
Not Sister Rita. Any nun. Does a good nun break the church rules, yes or no?
Make him stop.
No!
Yet Sister Rita wanted you to marry a Methodist.
I was all alone. She only told me I could go there to the socials. I was all alone on the farm. And there were sounds at night. Sounds I'd never heard before. And I was going to be an old maid. I'm not very pretty, you know. I'm not. You don't know how it was. I had to do what I could. Father!
Leave her alone! Leave her alone! This cruelty must stop!
If the defendant wishes to make a statement, he must be under oath.
Objection now, not after the verdict now.
I want this in the record.
Listen to me. I was there.
I move this
but
court
I
be
didn't
adjourned
help.
until such time.
Enough cruelty has happened.
This is inadmissible.
But this cruelty must not happen because of me.
I want this in the record.
No, don't. I'm innocent of all that.
Brevard.
I know I was wrong.
He's not under oath. This doesn't count.
But he's destroying the people who come to help me.
Everything I'm doing is to get to the bottom of the crime.
Everything I did was for the church. He's trying to destroy her.
Take him out. Amos, take him.
I'll call no more witnesses. The prosecution rests.
Spring brings promises in the lilacs, dreams of lavender and green. When I hide myself in lilacs, winter's madness seems a dream. The scent of the lilacs like a gentle wind, the touch of the flowers like a baby's hand. Oh, lilac, you can grow when the earth is cold. You are here when no one knows.
You sound happy.
Spring brings promises in the lilac,
Come to your garden many times.
dreams of
Often just to think.
lavender and green. When I hide myself in a lilac.
I will miss it this winter.
So will I.
Did you watch the sunrise?
I don't want to detain you.
I have time. You see, today's a bit of a celebration. In a sense. I finished my book. Forever.
You did? I'm so used to you being busy, Father.
What are you thinking?
The lilacs will survive the drought. Maurice told me. He's going to bring me some lilacs from behind his shop next spring.
When is it that you talked to Maurice?
He let me go with him to Traverse City.
When? I didn't give permission for that.
I have to go there for a confession.
What are you doing?
Tatting. Verna taught me.
Sister, you don't think you spend too much time with Erna, do you?
Father, I took responsibility for my own well-being a month ago at confession. Helping Erna does not interfere with my teachings or other responsibilities. Erna and I are friends. I think I understand her. She feels quite unloved, useless without her mother.
Sister, I only worry that you might waste too much time.
I intend to waste even more time on Erna, and I don't really care what you do or think.
Please don't. Please don't talk like
my bedroom wall. It's like a prison. I have to get up and walk in the hall up there.
The wallpaper. It's the same through the whole house. My room too. Sister, let Erna go to the Methodist social.
What do you mean?
Let her go. But maybe you shouldn't say I'm allowing it, otherwise the whole
Thank
parish
you, Father. I'll tell her. Thank you. Can't even say how I feel. That you're helping Erna, that you finished your book, that maybe now you'll have time for... That we could... That you could bring me those lilacs from the valley that you promised. I'd like to read your book.
I destroyed it.
What?
I'll never leave this place. So, I burned it.
Why, Father?
Well, I thought I knew God. Vengeful God. God of Job. That God. And then you came. And I tried to fit into God the things I know. And the things you said. And when I did that, it wouldn't work. I don't know God anymore.
To destroy it? Your life's work?
Sister, I am fit for this very small parish, if that. Now I have to work to be worthy of it every day.
I couldn't have said anything so bad that you'd destroy it because of me.
Because of or for you? What difference does it make? Maybe God is only hope. Why else would you and I keep making each other such senseless promises? No man ever gets what he works for, or what he wants. See, I didn't know that before you came. You taught me something.
No. Every night, I had had this conversation 100 times. Every night I couldn't sleep. I expected it all differently.
What else did you expect?
I don't know. I don't know.
Listen, you son of a bitch! What are you doing to me?
What do you mean?
Standing up, talking like some crazy man in the court?
That was for Erna.
Look, Brevard, you know I've never argued an actual trial before. Not like this. Hell, I've never even cross-examined a witness before.
You've done it well.
I know. Brevard, I need your help. I can't do it alone, and on top of everything else, I found out you lied to me.
I never lied to you.
There was a light, but a holy rosary very late last night. I went up, and I found this. Bishop, I beg that you transfer Sister Rita. I know now that I shall never leave this place. Sister does live in the rectory. I made her lie to the Monsignor for my own selfish reasons. Sister has a way about her, and it makes me think I am loving her. I know I must run from this temptation, and I do, but I grow weary, very weary. You wrote it, but you didn't mail it.
But I wrote it the last day. It was too late.
Too late for what?
Please, stop. I don't want to remember anymore.
Then change your plea. It'll be easier for you. And then I could probably get it down to second-degree murder. Reduce the charge. Second-degree murder. Second-degree would be the most that they could give you. And as a matter of fact...
No, she's dead. There are no degrees in death.
But they won't hang you. That's what matters, isn't it?
No, I don't care if I live or die. I just want to remain sane.
You're sane. prove that standing up in court, asking for some room there to be left over for common human decency. And when you did that, you put a rope right around your neck. At least you're saner than the crazies up here. They drink and spit, plant and wait, sit and stare. After a while, the pupils in their eyes seem to enlarge so all they can see clearly are gravestones and two-headed calves and the wounds of the horses which they themselves back up into unseen equipment. They're past care, so I argue their deeds and wills, travel to Leland to see lantern slides of European castles, and wonder how men lost the ability to dream and accomplish. And I fish. Mainly I fish. But you, Rivard, you made me think what a man might do. I didn't care much for you one way or the other when I first saw you. But I care, because I suppose I know that you're a tad like me. And I figure you're worth saving. Of course, maybe now I'm just madder than them. I want to help you. I think I can. Let me change your plea so you can live.
I can't do that.
I hope you bear up then. Because somehow, I'm going to find out about that last day.
All right then, Counselor. We have to.
They still haven't found Shandig. Some hunters say they saw a woman living out of an old deserted loggers camp last fall. Maybe that's her. I know she's still in the area. She comes into Solon a couple times every year. She trades muskrat skins. Now I'm thinking she might be back up at Holy Rosary. Somebody's there. Lights are on. House all cleaned up. And your cassock was laying out on the bed. Yes, Mrs. Shindig expects you back, Rivard. Yeah, I'm going up there.
I did try to save Sister. I did try to save her.
Father! Father! Mrs. Shandy told me you were hurt in town fighting fire.
It's just my leg. It hurts to stand. I turned back when I thought I'd have to outrun the
Maria
fire.
said the town is safe. The farmlands will burn today. Fire almost reached Holy Rosary, but we stopped it by digging a fire ditch.
What are you wearing?
Down in the town. I had to put it on. All those flying cinders, my robe was caught fire.
Are you hurt?
No. It's Sophie's mother's.
I'm so tired. Are you tired? I think that's why I fell ahead.
I'm so sick. You've dirt all over you.
Sister, go inside and change. You shouldn't be out of your habit when we're so tired. Go inside.
It's just us. Everyone else is down there. And I have this feeling. And I know it's just us. What is it? It's not knowing that hurts so much. If I could understand, if I could do what is right, then everything would be all right again. But I don't know. Please help.
The bishop will help us. I wrote him today. I asked that you be transferred.
Not that. I'll never know.
We don't want to.
I want to. All my life I'll wonder.
No. You'll forget. Go inside and change.
How could I be so wrong?
Don't do this.
I felt this. I wish I died.
Go up and pray.
I can't.
Save us! Mother Mary, gentle Jesus, God, am I in your image? I am waiting. I have always waited. God, please help me. Help me, God. Help me. God?
Where's my garden? The fire torch. They dug the fire that right through my garden. All the bulbs are dug up. The roses, they burned.
At night, I worry about you. If you're eating, if you're sleeping, even when I pray, I only pray when it's about you. Almost two.
Please. Tell me what it is.
I have. I love you.
I never even dared think. I thought, who else would have me but the church? So it's you. I'm not nothing, am
No, you're not.
I? I'm just like everyone else.
What's that?
Just my diary. I always keep it on the drawer. But it's all right now, isn't it? Do you want to read it?
It's drawn.
Not all of it.
Oh, no, of course not. That wouldn't be Sister Immaculata, would it?
I think she must have been in a grump that day.
Every day. Have you shown her this?
No. No one's ever seen it. I offered to show it to Mother Vincent once, but she said the only sin it could possibly be is boring.
She was wrong. Why was I so stupid? Why did I think it was so worthy to...
Why do we have to understand? Has trying to understand been so wonderful?
No.
Who's that?
Me? You certainly got the eyelashes right. You make me so happy. You made me so miserable.
Never meant to. Look, where I stood all those nights. We can be like all the other people now. We aren't so different after all, are we? Don't look at the church. Look down there, with the other families. We'll be like that too.
We can't move down there.
We'll have our own children.
Children.
Yes. Oh, yes. Should have known. Known that if the church wasn't everything, you would give me something in its place.
You've thought of this before.
No. Just confusion. And there you'll see. I just didn't know.
Read it to me.
Someday. Whenever. You can read it all.
Read it to me. Now. Read it.
Well, any page these last 3 months. I think Father Bard must be right. Maybe the church is only for rules, but God is for people. And according to the rules, everything I feel is wrong. Yet, nothing feels wrong. Do I have a conscience? Yes, I do. Do I belong in the church? I don't know. He makes me so confused.
We can never lose our faith.
We won't.
We can't even think.
Look, the lights are going on in their homes. We can think of that. We'll be down there and then... What is it?
Mrs. Shandy's coming up the hill.
We can tell her. Everyone.
No.
Why?
Because I'm their priest. I'm the only way they have of understanding.
People understand.
No, it's not how you think it is. Their homes have photographs of babies in coffins. Children douse kittens in kerosene, and the fathers laugh when they set the flames. Mothers can't cook some mornings because their fingers are broken from the father's beatings. It's only because they think I'm different. Only because they think I'm worthy that I can help them. I have to be worthy.
I think you're worthy. Please. You said you loved me. And I know you're too good, too precious to escape. Desert me when...
I'm not. Not what you think I am. I destroyed all of that for the church. All I have left is the cruelty. I can't be a husband. I can't be a father. All I have is the cruelty. That is my burden to bear, not the resurrection, life. Those are my nails. There's no chance.
No! You're not cruel. It'll be different now.
Damn you. Trying to break me down. Making me forget. Planting those flowers out there. As if you can change anything. What makes you think you can change anything? You don't make things better, you make them worse. It's not my fault you lost your faith. You never had any of it died so easily.
No! No! Stop that! That was before. That's gone. It's gone!
With them, I can make it seem all right. They don't want to know me. They just want me to say those words. You can't know me, you hate me. I hate myself. You can't know me.
I don't hate you. God doesn't hate you.
Don't talk about God.
We still have God.
I don't want God. I don't want you. I hate God. I hate God. I've always hated God. I want to kill God. I've always wanted to kill. I've always wanted to kill God. I've always wanted to kill.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What you said, hating God, it's my fault too.
No. No. It's me.
We have to help each other now. It's all we have. We only have each other.
Sister, what are you saying?
Please, Mrs. Shandick, leave us alone.
What is wrong with what you said?
Tell her. Please, tell her.
Tell me what?
Tell her.
Tell me what?
Tell her. It'll all be over. Please, just tell her you love me.
Sister, no. No.
There's a train. I'll walk to Traverse City. The fire didn't affect the trains there.
I'll go with you.
No.
Father, you can't go.
Please, don't leave me. I don't care if I go to hell.
here, don't touch her!
Stop it!
I won't hurt you anymore. You can leave, but you must leave the correct way. Your community tells you. Go back to your order.
I'm not a nun now. I'm nothing.
There's still a place for you. They need you.
I haven't even said it to you.
Don't say it. Don't even think it. Honor your vows. That's all we have left. The rest is me. I cause it. God is not cruel.
No. 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 There's nothing left. But I never told you. You never heard the words. Please let me tell you.
Father walked down the hill. Sister watched from her window until he was almost out of sight, and then she screamed after him.
I love you.
He didn't even hear her.
Now I want to understand this clearly, Mrs. Shandy.
Yes, sir?
When she called to him, he did not turn back.
No, sir, he's a priest.
He did not return that night.
No, sir, never.
Anyone else? Anyone come up the hill that night?
Maurice came up.
What did he do?
He planted a small lilac bush from the town. He told me that Father paid him to do it.
Did Maurice see Sister Rita?
I don't know.
Now think. Did Sister see Maurice?
Sister went to her garden. She saw the lilac. She touched it just like she was always touching things, and then she went all crazy. She threw herself down onto the ground and started rolling back and forth. She rolled herself right into the ditch they dug up to stop the fire, and she didn't get up. She just lay there, shaking, like deep sobbing, staring up at me with dead eyes.
I see. I see what you mean. Then what did you do?
I prayed to St. Jude for strength and guidance. He answered my prayer because I understood that the lilac was a sign from Father. He paid Maurice to plant the lilac as a sign to me to bury her in the garden. She was too evil to put in the cemetery. She just lay there like a snake. Just like a dead snake. I know that look. When I was a girl, my mother, she saw a snake in the yard. She went and got a hatchet and chopped it all up. It kept wiggling after it was dead. All the pieces moved. I didn't know then that they kept moving until the sunset. She was laying down there, wiggling and making noises, but it was near on to the moonrise, so I knew that she was dead. I went and got the shovel and started scraping the dirt over her dead, wiggling body. I was nearly finished when the dirt over her started to rise. The earth didn't want her body. But I hit the snake's head and shoveled the dirt faster over its face, and then it was peaceful. The moon came up, and Holy Rosary was silvery and white again, and the fire was far, far away.
I move this case be dismissed on the grounds that the people's case cannot support a verdict of guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Brevard! This hill's too much for me. So, this is where Sister Rita was buried.
Yes.
Brevard at Shandy. She killed herself at the jail last night. Banged her head against the wall till she died.
No. It will not stop.
I'm sorry. Sorry I called on Sandy. Sorry I thought I was so damn clever. At least you can have forgiveness in your church, can't you?
Not unless you know God. She gave me a chance. Will I never see the face of God?
What are you planning you'll do, Brevard?
What are you going to do?
Fish. Mainly on fish.
Mourn her. Mainly I'll mourn her.